Well, hello again. This is your good friend Brian King here, ADHD success coach for parents, professionals, and people that are living with ADHD. One thing I've been seeing a lot of talk of, not only with my clients, but some other people, feeling like they're a failure as a parent. Hey, I see people starting to come on and join us. Hallelujah. Feel free to give me a like, give me some love, give me a comment, let me know you're here, and we will get the ball rolling. Rachel, I'm so glad you could make it. I think you're going to love this topic. There are so many parents that struggle along with their kids. They read the books, they go to the workshops, they listen to the seminars, and they feel like they're making no progress. They feel like the problem is them. They feel inept, inadequate, incompetent, any other word. And they just think, especially during those tougher moments, when their kids are melting down, when their kids are throwing a fit over homework, when their kids won't go to bed on time and it's always a fight, one of the first thoughts that crosses a parent's mind is, man, I feel like such a failure. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like that I'm simply, not doing right by my child. And it's because your child is suffering, because it's difficult. So one of the things, hey there, Janae, one of the things I want you to begin thinking about is, where is that belief in your head that this is supposed to be a smooth ride? This is supposed to be easy. Yeah, the books, they have such intentions, but, well, one thing, Rachel, is important, even in the books that I've written. The author tries to keep them as general as possible to try and help as many people as they can. There's no book written that's going to be customized to your child and your unique situation. That's what the professionals are for. Ideally, there are a lot of professionals out there that hang out their shingles with very good intentions, but they don't really have the skill set they need to help our kiddos. And fortunately, not only do I have these challenges and my kids have these challenges, but I immerse myself in best practices because I want to know what is the latest, greatest stuff that's going to help you get results fast. Because not only do parents not have the money for long-term solutions, they don't have the time. Our kids suffer the longer they are made to wait while somebody else who really doesn't know any better figures it out, okay? But that's a bit of a tangent here. I had these challenges too with my own boys when they were younger and melting down daily. And I felt angry because I just wanted things to work. I was a social worker, for crying out loud. I was supposed to know everything. Those beliefs, the I'm supposed to know everything, that this is supposed to be easier, those are two of the reasons you feel like a failure. Because you have these beliefs in your mind that who knows where they came from. Some of it came from assumption. You saw other parents, you saw their kids behaving, you saw their kids, getting better grades than your kid, and you're assuming that they are the poster child. They are the model from which all parenting has created. Hey, Phoebe. And because we do that comparison, we think they're having better results than I am, therefore I'm failing and they've got it right. So I really want to encourage you to let go of those beliefs. Easier said than done, I realize, because beliefs, the more emotional energy we give them, the more they get hardwired into our belief system. Oh, that's a very wonderful statement. Rachel just posted, comparison is the thief of joy. Hallelujah. That is absolutely true. And I know it's hard to stop doing it. In fact, you may continue to do it for the rest of your life. The important thing to do is acknowledge when you're doing it. When you catch yourself comparing, you're usually going to feel that emotion, that tension, that upset that comes along with it. When you're aware of it, you can catch it and say, wait a minute. My job in this world is not to model this person's life. My job is to create my own path for me and my child. That's what I'm focused on. This parent doesn't have the same challenges I do. They have their own. And they look like they're handling it pretty well. But you know what? If this person has something to teach me, I'll ask questions and learn. But by no means is the measure of my success based on their success. Hey there, Joy. So are you with me so far? Is this making sense? Give me some comments and let me know if this is resonating with you. Because if I'm just talking a lot of nonsense, I don't want to waste your time. I want to give you what is going to be valuable to you here. So give me a thumbs up, give me a write on, tell me, hey, Brad, this is making sense to me. Some kind of comment that lets me know that we're on the same page here. And then I will continue to address this topic. Anyone? Anyone? I saw some thumbs up, so I'm getting the sense that this is helpful to you. The overall thing that I think would make somebody a failure as a parent, thank you, Rachel, what would ultimately make you a failure as a parent is if you give up on your child, period. So, and I know all the people that have tuned in, one of the reasons you tuned in is because you're looking for answers. Not because you threw your hands up and said, that's it, I've done everything, you're on your own, kiddo. And I know some people that have said that in moments of frustration. I work with parents that have said that in moments of frustration, and all it did was cause a meltdown or exacerbate one that was happening. And I understand that level of frustration, that sense of helplessness, that you've done everything and you know you don't know what else to do, that you feel like you're failing your child. But I guarantee you, as long as you stay with it, as long as you have that little kernel in your brain that says, I'm not giving up, I know there's a solution, I just need to find it. Go from being the I need to know everything, the this is supposed to be easy, and switch your mindset to that of a treasure hunter. I'm looking for the needle in a haystack. I'm looking for the diamond in the rough. I'm looking for that one kernel of wisdom that's going to help shift the way things have always been. One of the reasons I make these videos and I put so much out there is to give you that kernel that's going to give you a shift that shows you, man, this can get better. This is not as good as it gets. There is improvement in my future. Now keep in mind, we're talking about a short video here. I can give you a kernel, but I can't give you the whole cassava, because in order to do these videos, just like the books, I need to keep it pretty general. So Rachel, Joy, anybody else that's tuning in, there is so much more to be given to your situation to really rock things. In fact, one thing I started doing today, I noticed it with a couple of my clients. I began checking in daily so that we don't miss an opportunity to identify a place where we can make a little shift, kind of like a little relationship chiropractic. It just has to be subtle. And by making that shift, it's amazing how things can change. But if you only wait till there's a crisis, there's too big a fire to put out. The main thing we want to do is just keep people safe from harm. Well, the opportunities don't always exist in crisis. They exist in our everyday habits, and these daily check-ins make that happen. Sometimes you just need the daily support to know you're not a failure, because you're not. Now, Rachel just posted, it's helpful to look back at how far we've come instead of being discouraged at how far we need to go. That's beautiful. I mean, compare where you are to where you've been. So if there's any healthy comparison to be done, that's it. Unless you're saying things like, man, we haven't moved far at all. Man, what's the point? Moving at a snail's pace here. If you say that your progress isn't good enough, it's really easy to become discouraged. But when you realize that progress is progress, it means you're doing something correctly. If you want progress to be faster, then usually it's a matter of adding more tools to the mix. More resources can really move things forward better. It's like upgrading your engine, upgrading your fuel, doing both, increasing the aerodynamics of your strategies. I don't know why the car metaphor came to mind here. But when you increase all those things, all of a sudden, boom, you're leaving everybody in the dust. And that is very possible in parenting. And I know that it can feel beyond you because you're looking at what your peers are doing. You're listening to the discussion groups in Facebook, or you're going to the parent meetings, and you're listening these common stories of struggle. That does not mean, and hear me when I say this, this does not mean that struggle is the default setting for every parent in this situation. It means that there are very common limiting beliefs amongst you, that you may be reading the same stuff and not getting additional help to make sure you apply it as effectively as possible. And this is something that happens in a lot of groups, that the reason you've come together, the reason you feel connected with one another is because of your suffering. When you hear people describe, oh, your kid does that, my kid does that too. And what keeps you connected is that me too factor. Well, believe it or not, that can sabotage improvement. Because what if you all of a sudden find something and you are improving the situation between you and your child, and you come back and appreciate success? Sometimes other people will be upset with you. They might say, oh, easy for you to say, or you got lucky on that one, or miracles sure do happen. People that feel helpless will often feel embittered by somebody else's progress. They'll attribute it to luck as opposed to somebody being responsible. Rachel, you're absolutely right. Misery loves company. You're just, you're full of sayings today. Those are resources, Rachel. That's great stuff. And now when you have those wonderful sayings and you look for ways to implement them, one of the things you see on my page every morning is the action word of the day, which is I'm really trying to encourage you to think of one word that you use to filter the day. Joy, action, responsibility, whatever it is. So if that is first and foremost in your mind, how will you see the day differently? How will you greet the day differently when you are proactively looking to embody a particular action? See, something that simple can create a huge shift. I've gotten private messages from people. Hey there, Sandy. I've gotten private messages from people who did that specific action word and they couldn't believe how much it changed things just from that one little word. So staying in the game as a parent, always looking for resources, always reaching out, and being very mindful of the current resources you're tapping into that are actually well-intended but sabotaging you. The support groups where everybody's negative every single time, as opposed to encouraging you to step outside of your fear, step outside of your limiting belief, and begin exploring new ideas. There was a time many, many years ago where I was good friends with somebody who ran a large parent group in the area. And she'd bring me in maybe twice a year to do a presentation. And it was amazing how many parents had given up. Because they would just say, well, we tried everything. We've gone to all the professionals and, we've read all the books. And I guess this is just the best we can do. I guess this is just all we can hope for our child. Let's get him on disability. It blows my mind. They've given up. That's the only criteria that I would say meets the definition of a failed parent, is quitting. Rachel, my dad used to always say, the day is what you make of it. If you choose to have a bad day, it's going to be bad. Good day, that's what it's going to be. Absolutely. Because one thing our stubborn mind likes to do is be right. It's all the self-fulfilling prophecy I'm sure you've heard of. You say, I just know I'm going to blow that test. Man, I studied as hard as I could. I just can't remember it. I know I'm going to bomb it. And what do? You don't try. You don't check your answers. You fill it out and you hand it in and say, well, that's it. I'm going to get the grade back. Oh, see, I told you. I got a D. Self-fulfilling prophecy. April, you're absolutely right. It's ego. And when you are a parent and when you are totally in love with your child, you want to help them succeed. You want to help them become all they can be. Often, the ego can sometimes take a break because you're so other-focused on your child. But when you start thinking about that hurt, that guilt, that remorse over not being able to do right by your child, that is then the ego feeling sorry for itself and feeling like a failure. Now, it's interesting that April brought that up because that's an entirely larger conversation that I spend hours talking with clients about, helping them get to the bottom of that beating themselves up, that whole pattern, that whole cycle, so that they can go from being helpless to being empowered, and then learning how to communicate that to their child so their child doesn't give up and stays in the game too. That's allowed my kids to be so successful. So what's the bottom line here, folks? The bottom line here is you are not a failure as a parent as long as you're in the game, as long as you're in the hunt for more resources. And the key here, the best resources are going to be the ones that you can customize to your life. Reading the books, reading the articles, looking at the posts, looking at these videos that I put are a 30,000-foot view of where you can begin looking in terms of where the difficulties lie as well as where the opportunities lie. But if you can't do it all with one of these resources, it doesn't mean you blew it. It means you did not get customized enough. It's like going and buying a jacket or something off the rack at the store and it's too baggy. It's because it hasn't been tailored yet. Doesn't mean because there's something wrong with you because this doesn't fit you the way it's supposed to, because it didn't meld to your body the moment you put it on. You need customization. So anybody, any of you talking, I want to continue this conversation with you. I want to help because I know that many of you struggle with this, feeling like a failure. So please private message me and we'll continue the conversation so that I can help you out. Short arms, yeah, that was the T-Rex's problem, Rachel, and that's why they're extinct. But we don't want that for you, okay? So private message me. Let's keep the conversation going. I hope this has been helpful for you. If there's anybody else out there you think can benefit from this message, please share it. In fact, ask yourself, who do I know that I can send this to right away to help them realize just what a wonderful job they're doing? April, the greatest resource of all we have is other special needs parents. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't help to have a special needs parent that's also a professional, like April and I. So feel free to reach out. I will be here, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon.